Welcome to the Tolkien Collector's Guide YouTube channel, where we gather experts from around the world to discuss Tolkien's books and the people who read them. I'm Urulókë, and with me are Trotter and Mr. Underhill.
So for this discussion today, we're going to be talking to Mr. Underhill from the Tolkien Collector's Guide about his Tolkien collecting experience.
Well, thanks, y'all, for having me on today. It's wonderful to talk Tolkien books whenever I can. So I got into Tolkien as a child. I've told this story, several times in several different places. I wasn't doing very well, and I was in elementary school, primary school, and I wasn't doing very well. And my parents sat me down and they told me that I was going to spend a summer reading, and so they took me to a bookstore, a local bookstore, and one of the books that I picked out that day was a copy of The Hobbit. It was, for those of you in the know, it was the old Ballantine mass market paperback with the lion on the cover. And I picked it because I didn't really know anything about hobbits, and I didn't know anything about Tolkien, but I liked the cover. It seemed, and I was being forced to read, and at that point I wasn't a very good reader, so I decided that's what I was going to read. And I took it. It was one of my two books that I took home, and I read it, and I liked the story so much that I read it again, and I read it several more times over the course of the next few years. And I didn't read Lord of the Rings until I got a little bit older. I was in junior high. I was from what I remember, I was reading my copy of The Hobbit, and the school librarian said, "Well, if you like that, you should check these out." And he let me check the books out, and I checked them out, and I had them checked out. The junior high in the U.S. is 3 years, and I had them checked out the whole 3 years. The school librarian never made me bring them back, and he allowed me to keep those books after I moved on to high school.
They didn't give you a big fine then, did they, for doing this?
They didn't give me a fine. No. I'm sure he probably just ordered some more copies, and he just let me have them. And those were the Houghton Mifflin hardbacks, the ones with the Alan Lee art on the dust jackets, the ones that Houghton Mifflin started producing in the late 80s, early 90s. And I still have those somewhere. They're in my stuff here somewhere. And I tried to read the Silmarillion later on when I was I was a little bit older, and I tried to read the Silmarillion, and just like with a lot of people, I know Trotter said the same thing. It didn't really go that well. It was just really difficult for me because it's so much different than The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And I really got back into Tolkien around the time the Jackson films were coming out. I wanted to connect with Tolkien somehow. And all I had in terms of reading material were my original copies, and they were library books, or they were secondhand books. They were beat up. And I thought to myself, a good way that I can connect is I can get a set that I'm just going to keep nice. I'm just going to have, and I won't read them, even if it's the same set. And the set that I ended up getting were the movie tie-in sets. Houghton Mifflin produced a box set that has it's got Christopher Lee on Two Towers. It's got I don't have them in front of me, but it's got wraparound stills from the films on the box, and I bought those not to read, but just to have. And then I thought, well, I have those. I should have a copy of The Hobbit that I don't read, that I just keep nice as well. And so I bought at the time I bought, it's a hardback. It's just one of those Houghton Mifflin hardbacks with Tolkien's art on the dust jacket. And it kind of snowballed from there. I mean, I got a copy of the Silmarillion that I didn't want to read, and I just kept nice. And it's really kind of slowly progressed from there. I've gone in and out of collecting over the years. I started a family not too long after that, and I was focusing on other things. I was focusing on my career for a lot of years, and Tolkien collecting has really been an on again, off again sort of thing. But really, over the last 5 years or so, I've really gotten back into it. And I've really wanted to get some of these more rare things that, and it's been quite the journey over the last 5 or 6 years. My collection's really, really grown over the last 5 or 6 years.
Do you have a favorite in there somewhere?
Yeah.
Well, kind of like Trotter, I really like The Hobbit for obvious reasons. It was my introduction to Tolkien. It's still my favorite Tolkien book. It's the one I know the best. It's the one I've read the most. I have lots and lots of copies of The Hobbit. I don't have as many as Andrew does, but I do have. I have several hundred individual copies of The Hobbit.
What would be something that's sort of really unusual in your collection, or something that you would really like to get? What's a gap?
So, in terms of like things that are unusual, I'm trying to think of things that I have. I have some things that are unique. Obviously, I've got some copies of Unfinished Tales and the Silmarillion, and a couple of other things that I've had some of the artists do individual pieces for, and those are obviously one of a kind. So those are pretty unique. One of the things I'm really, really proud of, I have every copy of the second edition of The Hobbit, both UK and US. So that's Allen and Unwin and Houghton Mifflin. I have each one of the printings from 1951 all the way to 1965. So I'm particularly proud of that. I'm really close to getting all of the UK printings from 1951 to 1975. I'm just missing 1971 as of whenever this video releases. That's the only one I'm missing. And I'm only missing one printing of the Houghton Mifflin second edition. I'm just missing the 18th printing. It's the only one I'm missing as of whenever this video comes out. So those are some of the things I'm particularly proud of. I do have several, really limited numbered editions. I have the 50th anniversary Hobbit, the deluxe in the slipcase that's numbered 1 of 500. I've got the Children of Hurin and the Sigurd and Gudrun super deluxes. Those are kind of some jewels of my collection. I've got a lot of first edition Lord of the Rings. I've got a lot of Houghton Mifflin first editions, and I've got a lot of Allen and Unwin first edition. I've got a couple of box sets. So those are the things I'm particularly proud of.
Yeah, I think that I'm hoping at some point you're going to do an article on the bindings of the US Hobbits. Because they're just lovely. The colours are fantastic.
Those are some of my favorite books. The second edition Houghton Mifflin Hobbits. Houghton Mifflin, I think, was just binding the Hobbit with whatever they had on hand that year, and so you get a lot of different colors on the spines. And when you line them all up without the dust jackets on them, it kind of makes a little bit of a rainbow. It's pretty cool.
The UK ones, obviously they're all the same colour, but one of the things that's probably not so nice, but if you have dust jackets on there, the dust jacket gets burnt on to a lot of the times onto the spine, so you can actually see that they do look a bit different. But I think the colours are great. I like the fact.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do the UK ones in different colours, but anyway. I think you might have already discussed this again, but what really does draw you into, say, collecting all the different Hobbits and things? Why?
Yeah, like I said before, originally it was just to kind of it was a way for me to connect with Tolkien. It was a way and it's an enjoyable hobby. I like to complete sets. I like to have and say that I have a complete set of something. And it's for Tolkien books, as y'all know, it never ends. Like being able to complete sets, you're never able to. There's always another set that you're missing one or two of that you're looking for. I really like the being a part of the collecting community is very, very rewarding for me. It's very gratifying for me. Being able to talk with people who can help me in my collecting, and if I can help them in their collecting, then that's what I enjoy the most. It's being able to kind of tease somebody that you have something that they don't is always really fun for me as well.
Yes, I think that collectors always like to say, "Well, you've got all these.
I don't think we
haven't got that one."
Yeah, I don't think we like to admit that very much, but
you're saying there's some competitiveness in this community.
Just a little bit.
So your house is on fire, and you've got 30 seconds. Your family's safe. They got out. What do you grab from your collection?
No, it's the books first. The family's after you got the books.
I don't want you to be concerned about that. I'm just saying, it's just you and the collection, and all you have are two hands. What are you grabbing?
I'm hoping that I have that sort of sudden burst of strength and I can lift the whole case.
Like Superman.
No, I think I'm probably going if I have to grab something, it's probably if I can grab my Houghton Mifflin first edition Lord of the Rings, if I can grab a couple of those sets, I'm grabbing those. And if I can grab some of my second edition Hobbits, I'm grabbing those too. Those are probably my favorites. A very long-term goal for me is to get every print of the Houghton Mifflin First Edition Lord of the Rings. That's a insurmountable task, it seems, because there are so many different ones. But that's like a sort of like a lifetime goal for me.
Yeah. No, well, that was absolutely fascinating. So thank you for that. I think I'm very impressed. I don't know what I would try and rescue from. I can't even contemplate the horror of that happening. But
I think about that sometimes. I have
a nightmare.
Yes. I have nightmares about me coming home and my house caught fire I think we all have those nightmares. It would be devastating.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so thank you. I think that was a great discussion, and obviously we'll be talking to you a lot as you're a host on this YouTube channel. So,
yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. This was really fun.
You're very welcome.
Absolutely.